Franz from Big Picture Film Club. In this special episode, we are covering the documentary Dear Future Children. Dear Future Children is a film about the new generation at the heart of this seismic political shift. We will watch as Rayen protests for social justice in Chile, Pepper fights for democracy in Hong Kong, and Hilda battles devastating consequences of climate change in Uganda. Everyone, thank you for joining and being here with me and kind of sharing your stories or how you're connected to the story or your experience. And with France, I just wanted to start with you. The documentary is very ambitious in what it wants to do. And so conceptually, how did you come about telling these three parallel stories in the way that you had done?
Thanks so much. And first of all, I want to underscore what a pleasure it is to be here today. Thanks so much for this great opportunity. We as a young team, during the beginning of 2019, when we first developed this project, we just had a shared huge fascination for young worldwide activism. We wanted to learn more about it. We wanted to learn about the motivations, the backgrounds, and most importantly, the impact that modern activism has on these individual lives. So I think that was sort of the key motivation to start and to initiate the project in the first place.
And the documentary deals a lot, well, in following the activists, actually it deals a lot with their own coping strategies in activism. And so, Pepper, if you could kind of start us off in terms of, yes, in the documentary, we see how you deal with the situation in Hong Kong with your, your fellow people with you in the movement. But in terms of your own well-being, I just wanted to know if you could touch on that. Like, how did you maintain your own mental health and well-being whilst being on the front line?
Thank you for the question. This is a hard question to think about. I want to be honest that from 2019 till now, this is always very challenging for me to take care of myself, the mental health state, because the harsh news happening every day, every day there are new stuff happening that will affect your mental health. And I made a decision to flee Hong Kong. And I understand that I won't be able to go back to Hong Kong in the future. And that means I cannot go back to see my family. I cannot go back to see my friends, to walk to the in the street that I used to walk for so many years. And this is very tough for me. But I am trying to cope with it now. So I think actually this is not only my story, but a lot of other protesters, they shared the same story with me as well. So I think it is important to speak to other activists, other protesters, that we know that we understand each other and to share this burden. And the plain fact is that we understand we lost our home, we can't get it back anymore, but we still have hope that we can do something in the future. And maybe one day miracle can happen.
Thank you. France, in your in the documentary, what is highlighted across the three countries is something of a generational divide. Are you able to articulate what that generational divide in terms of engaging in activism is and why it has come about?
I mean, obviously, I don't want to speak for any of these young frontline activists. However, from the experiences we saw while filming this documentary is that especially the young generation, because they are now, seeing their future being created here, or as you can also say, being destroyed here, they have their backs against the wall. They don't really see that we are on a path to secure a future where we can all raise our own families, or where we can live lives without thinking constantly about these problems that we are facing now. So I think the current young generation is being thrown into this world and is being confronted with all these problems, and they are just asking, where are our solutions? Where's the plan? And quite soon, as in Chile, they realize, well, there is no plan. So we have to create one. We have to lead the fight for a better future. And that's, I would say, something that is connecting all three protest movements that you can see in the film, but surely is counting for even more movements around the globe.
And Pepper, kind of coming to you, what are your thoughts on that generational divide, and specific to Hong Kong, why that has happened in that way?
I think for now it's very different from 2019 because we have the national security law being introduced, and now if you want to start a protest, be in a protest, the cost is very, very high. And for example, now because of the national security law, you are in a protest and you will face 10-year jail. This is, if you're a protester, you will have a friend or two or even more who are now in jail, and they're facing 10 years of jail time. And this is something hitting us very hard, that because of this high cost, almost no one's coming out. And this is where I see like the difference between 2019 and now. And I think if you have a family, maybe it's easier. You can just stick to your family, and that will be easy. And you can pretend you can get over it, and you just be a normal person. Because really, the national security law scared so many people into submission. So I think this causes the generation divide. That the older people, we said, they don't understand us, the younger generation, the younger Hong Kong generation who wants democracy, who wants freedom. So I see this is a very huge problem, that our values, our future are in danger. And we have less and less room and space to breathe. It feels suffocating. That I feel like our backs are now just being against the wall
Mm.
because of the government, the national security law. Yeah.
So France, I wanted to get your thoughts on these different activist movements, and whether you thought there was a particular connection to all of those three, and the ones that you looked at in Chile, Hong Kong, Uganda. Are they all connected, or they're all just three very particular cases going on in the world at the same time?
I mean, obviously, each individual movement is using their individual strategies and tactics and tools to reach, or at least try to reach, their individual goals. However, I think one element that is surely connecting all three movements that we are featuring in our documentary is, first of all, that they are representing a clear democratic majority within their own society, and that they're mainly worried about their own future. So all these sort of improvements that they are trying to make, all these political causes that they are bringing forward, that's all directed towards a safer and maybe more prosperous and more justice future. And I think that's something which I think is really interesting, that connects all three of them. Hilda said it, that this fight is for her future children. And I think that represents quite well one of the core motivations of all three protagonists as well.
And I wanted to sort of end with you, Pepper. Are you hopeful for the future?
I think for now, this is a very tough time for all the Hong Kong people. And it feels like the government is trying to take the hope away from us. But I think we have such a huge responsibility just to insist to fight for what we've been fighting for. Because if we are not doing it, no one is doing it. So I think this is still possible. I still have hope for the future, that I think if everyone is doing this, not only some of the protesters, then there will be a slight chance that what we are hoping for, what we are fighting for, this is possible. I am sure about that, that I'm confident if we do it together, our hands are on this together, to work on it together, there will be hope.
I think that's a very nice note to leave on. There will be hope. So Pepper, France, and Patience, thank you very much for your time today. And I look forward to sharing Dear Future Children with our wider audience here in the UK and continuing this discussion. Thank you once again.
It was a great pleasure. Thank you so much for having us. Great opportunity.
Thank you.